Ahead of Edo governorship election, the ruling APC is wary of the Bielsa experience, which saw it lost the governorship seat. The party chairman, Adams Oshiomhole, warns on purpose screening of aspirants. And as parties slug it out in court over mode of primaries in the Edo APC, the government releases rules on political gatherings. Hello everyone and welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbaloye in Lagos tonight. It's going to be to talk about Edo APC internal crises, the primaries. A lot of things are happening and the parties in the race are already talking tough. They've gone to court. What exactly are they up to tonight? We'll be dissecting some of these issues and from the different angles and perspectives tonight. I will give you all the sides in the matter tonight. But let's tell you about some of the other political stories we're following for you on our political roundup. All right, we'll bring you that in a moment. But let's tell you that ahead of that June 22nd primary election, the All Progressives Congress APC has inaugurated a screening committee made up of some academics, lawyers, and politicians to screen the incumbent governor of Edo State and 5 other aspirants of the party. Speaking in Abuja at the inauguration ceremony, the national chairman of the party, Adams Oshiomhole, says the party is determined to avoid a repeat of the Bielsa experience where the court nullified its victory due to the credentials of the party's deputy governorship candidate. Adams Oshiomhole were asking members of the committee to be thorough in their duties. Also said that the Bielsa experience was in part responsible for the display of aspirants' credentials at the National Secretariat under the tag of claims and objection.
You can only imagine how we felt as a party when, after we have won an election, there were no question. In fact, it was the best election ever conducted in Bayelsa State. No violence. People voted, perhaps people will say for the first time. But we lost it because the deputy governor, according to the Supreme Court, had contradictions in his documents. And so we lost it. So the screening is not a formality. We expect you to be very, very meticulous in every material particular to protect our party. So that let it not be said that we didn't learn anything from Bayelsa.
Well, we'll be talking more about the issues in Edo State and the jostle for the ticket of the party. But let's get you now our political roundup.
The Senate has received a formal request from the President for the confirmation of the acting President of the Court of Appeal, Monica Dongban Mentem. The request is contained in a letter read on the floor during plenary by the President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan. President Muhammadu Buhari explained in the letter that Justice Dongban Mentem's appointment is pursuant to Section 231, Sub 1 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Lawmakers in the House of Representatives today opened a register for every member to sign up supporting the hashtag Say No to Rape campaign, aimed at getting individual members to identify and actively participate in the fight to end the problem. Members of the House had last week condemned the various incidents of rape in different parts of the country, calling for stiffer penalties for perpetrators. The Advanced Nigeria Democratic Party is asking the Bayelsa State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Abuja to nullify the declaration and return of Governor Doye Dibi and order a fresh election wherein the Independent National Electoral Commission will include the name and logo of the party. At the resumed hearing of the petition, the People's Democratic Party Governor Dewey and the Independent National Electoral Commission closed their case as the electoral body insisted that it never excluded the petitioner and their candidate from participating in the polls. The petitioner claims that shortly after the party submitted the name of its governorship candidate and his running mate, the Independent National Electoral Commission notified them that it has excluded the party from participating in the Bayelsa State 2019 governorship election on the grounds that the deputy governorship candidate is 34 years old and did not qualify to contest as such. The party also claimed that on the 3rd day of October 2019, they communicated INEC reminding it that it has no legal power to disqualify any party on any grounds whatsoever, but INEC failed to comply to the party's letter. A lawyer to the lawmaker representing Gumel constituency of Jigawa, Mr. Sani Isiaku of the APC, is accusing the Speaker of the Jigawa State House of Assembly of illegality by suspending his client without fair hearing. Professor Maman Lawa, who is representing the lawmaker, spoke to journalists shortly after the adjournment of the case hearing at the High Court, saying that his client was only informed on the 5th of March on the floor of the House that he was suspended without any reason for that suspension. Meanwhile, the counsel to the Speaker and the Attorney General of Jigawa State, Mr. Musa Aliyu, says the court order they acquired which prevented the Speaker to suspend the lawmaker has lapsed.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's get to it. The debate on the mode of the All Progressives Congress primary, well, we understand that some breaking news coming in. INEC has released the list of primaries across some of the political parties. Now, we will get some of those information to you shortly. But there's been some controversies over that mode of primaries. The case has gone to court, and the court has said that it will determine the case when it come back to hearing. But the Deputy Governor of Edo State, Mr. Philip Shaibu, is also part of the conversation. He's insisting that the state should have the power to choose the most favorable system under the present circumstances. He said the days on imposition in the party is long gone and nobody has a right to take decisions on behalf of the people. Yesterday, the different parties in the matter were in court when the court adjourned the matter. Let's get talking, everyone, tonight. I have joining me the special advisor to Governor Obaseki on political affairs, Honorable Osaiwo Ioha. He joins us from Benin City. Thank you so much, Honorable Ioha, for joining us tonight on the program. For what we saw in court yesterday, and perhaps what is coming from INEC today, for an obvious mode of primaries that have been adopted by INEC, what's your take on that?
Well, good evening, Nigerians. Good evening, Shehu. We were in court yesterday, and the ruling is clear. We're going back there on the 11th, and for now, what we see is that the court has said that INEC and the party should not do anything about the mode of primaries in Edo until it resolves the issue. So we are a law-abiding party, and so we intend to go back to court on the said date to hear from the judge. But the issues are very, very clear. Very, very clear. And if the judge, reduced the number of people in his courtroom because of the laws of the state, it tells you that it tells you that they know what they are doing. And so we will not let any illegality stand. We will not let any arbitrariness stand. And there will be no lawlessness in Edo State.
But as it stands right now, the contestation between the different parties now is who has the right to determine the mode of primaries. But it's obvious in the laws of your party, isn't it, on who can or who conducts governorship primaries. Obviously, it is the National Working Committee. Does it not behove on it to determine what mode it wants to use?
No, it's very simple. The issues are clear. We know that the Electoral Act makes it, says that the National Working Committee, they hear from the National Working Committee directly. However, our own laws, from the NEC meeting that was held in August 29, 2018, the decision was taken that the state executive committees have the right. They are the people that will sit down. They are coming, their caucus, the executive committee, the working committee, they all sit down, they agree on the mode of primaries, and then they communicate to the National Executive Committee. The National Working Committee is like, how do I put it? They are to implement the decisions of the NEC. That is, they are the working organ that implements decisions. That we never envisage a situation where one man would sit down to now take over the functions of all the committees, including the states, the local government, he becomes an authority unto himself. We never envisaged that. So the man has completely muscled all the structures of the party, and nobody is answering him. It seems not answerable to anybody as we speak.
I mean,
so we never envisaged this situation.
For example, the decision of the governor, the deputy governor today, when he said the rule about political gathering, and what you are hearing from the other side in your party, that this is simply a political decision, is actually against or is on the issue of the APC primary.
Sure, it's laughable. You know, I was watching Channels TV 30 minutes before I came on the show. And everywhere on your television, I saw COVID-19. We're trying to sensitize our people about this pandemic because they seem to take it, they just think that nothing is happening. But we have figures. People are dying all over the world. I saw today that the schools in Israel, after reopening, they are caught up with a lot of students. A very, very huge percentage of students have not caught this virus. So this is a public health issue. Our job as a government is the protection of lives and property. That is the first responsibility of any government, any sane government. So we are not playing politics with it. It is what it is. There is COVID-19. As I'm talking to you, the headquarters of Oredo local government area has been shut down because 2 of our principal officers there and other staffs are struck down with COVID-19. And we are not playing with it. So we do not want an escalation that would bring us to a state where we can no longer manage this crisis. I mean, people have to be alive to vote. People have to be alive to play politics. If our people die, who are you going to govern? And that is what we are saying. We have done epidemiological studies since March that has told us that by the 3rd week of June, our cases are going to spike, that we are going to be at this peak. Our job is to flatten the curve. And it's towards this that we said, okay, so that we take this seriously, we have to come out to tell the people that you don't gather more than 20 people at a time. If you see the Edo model, from day one, we never did a total shutdown because we know that we cannot cater for everybody as a government. We don't have such resources. So that is why from day one, we always said social distancing. We are the first state that made it compulsory to use face masks. So you see, we move our markets and hello.
Yeah, let's take a breather. Honorable, you are. Let's take a break. And when we come back, we hear some other perspective to what you are saying, because some people don't believe your own side of the story, and there is a counter argument on that. But of course, we will also hear the deputy governor on the rule on political gathering going forward in Edo State. We'll be right back, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, and welcome back. Let's get back to the conversation tonight. We're talking about the Edo APC governorship primaries. There's been a lot of talk about the mode, but it does look like something is happening. As tonight, INEC has released the mode of primaries as submitted by the individual parties. The mode of primaries, as it will be conducted by each of the parties. We will show you that list in a short while. But We have Honorable Osaigbo Ioha, who has been speaking with us on the program. He's a special advisor to the governor of Edo State on political affairs. Let's get another view on this matter, as I have on the phone now Honorable Washington Osifo. He's not, I guess he's not able to make it physically into the studio, but let's get him on the telephone now. Thank you so much, Honorable Osifo, for your time. From what is happening presently, the case in court yesterday, what we are hearing, what you heard the Deputy Governor say about the rule on political gathering, what are your thoughts?
Well, first, I was a bit embarrassed by what they turned in on the national TV and even through other social media platforms, to the extent that, or to the effect that the court granted a restraining order. Yesterday, what happened was that the court didn't grant any restraining order. Rather, the court directed 3 orders. One, that parties in the matter should not do anything to disturb the first defendant, which is APC, from conducting the primaries in the structure that it has placed down to do its primaries. The second one, that all matters responses will be taken together with the originating summons, which will come up on Thursday. And 3, that all parties should file responses, and that responses all will be taken on that same Thursday, which is a day after tomorrow. So I was surprised when I read, otherwise, that the court granted an order, a restraining order. And I'm sure they also misled Channels reporters who even took that initially on their set, but thank God, when they were cleared on the fact of the matter or regarding the order that was not granted, then I'm sure the Channels corrected, as a responsible organization, corrected that error.
I'm not sure. You got the right. I mean, the right story there about how it was reported on Channels Television, but that's not the bone of contention here. The bone of contention is between you politicians there, and the issue is that case is in court right now. It will go back to court, but from what we see, INEC has released the mode of primaries as transmitted from the different political parties. But before you touch on that, react to what the Deputy Governor said about the fact that there shall not be any political gathering of more than 20 persons. Then if you are conducting a direct primary, how do you hope to achieve that?
Well, Cheru, I didn't quite hear you, but I'm sure I heard you talking about gathering. Maybe you are referring to the order purportedly signed by the governor. Well, you see, there are, in my take on this, and the take of very responsible persons, are that this order is an order that is self-serving, is an order that is malicious, it is an order that does not serve any public interest other than the interest and ambition of the government. And an order that does not take from the Constitution is null and void to the extent of its unconstitutionality. So that is exactly what it is. And we have watched with keen interest. PDP did their World Congress today. PDP is an opposition party in the state. They did their World Congresses in the 192 wards of Edo State, same as the direct, where we also have resolved to also conduct our direct primary. So if PDP is allowed to as an opposition party, the governor of APC allows PDP to do that, it is not a problem to him, but that of APC is a problem to him. He contradicted himself even in the order when he said that the stadium will be the only place where such congresses will be held, and that it will not be more than 5,000 and all of that, because in saying that, instead of decentralizing, he has prepared concentration. And how can you imagine a system that says that it is unlawful for 20 persons to gather at a particular place in one breath is also saying that it will allow over close to 5,000 to gather in a particular place? Does that make sense? You cannot reprobate and appropriate at the same time. You cannot blow hot and blow cold at the same time. So you see, an order that is self-serving, we hardly enjoy the enforceability of a reliable system.
Mr. Osifo, are you afraid of what could be an outcome of the court cases now? Because each time you have an electoral process or a political process being already bedeviled by court processes or issues in the courtroom, there's usually a major problem. Are you afraid of any issues that may come at the end of the day for your party?
I'm on the highway. I can barely hear you. But if you want to help me, please, could you please be more audible so that I can hear you?
Just a moment. Stay with us, Honorable Washington Osifo. Let's give you some of the news just coming in from INEC and the mode of primaries as submitted by political parties transmitted to INEC, and INEC has tonight published those mode of primaries. Let's show them to you. Let me read them out to you as it will be conducted. There you have it. For the political party, each of them, the ones with indirect. But if you look at the one for about contention now is the APC. But what you have there is direct mode of primaries. Honorable Ioa, this is coming from INEC, and some kind of breaking news is coming in right now. How does this come to you?
Sheol, I'm just looking at the screen. Is it not shameful when you look at the screen and then you see with our present situation, present day Nigeria, present day the world order today, you see all of them. As at yesterday, INEC told us that 15 political parties have sent in their mode of conducting primaries. And 14 out of 15 chose indirect mode. Then the ruling party that is supposed to take care of the people have opted for direct primaries. It is laughable and it is shameful. So I'm looking at your screen now. You will see that it's only the APC, the ruling party, that is supposed to have the sanctity of human lives at the back of their mind since they are in power, that is now opting to kill the people via direct primaries. What are we asking for? We are asking for indirect, which every sane person is doing at this time. We said, let's go to Ogbe Stadium. Ogbe Stadium has a capacity of over 17,000 persons. 17,000. When we have direct, delegates chosen by the party from the ward level. If you add the statutory delegates and everybody, we have about 3,500 persons. If 3,500 persons go into a facility that seats 17,000 and more people, it means that every 6 chairs, you have somebody sitting down. That is one. Then you count 5 till the next person sits down again.
Honorable Ioa.
Safe place where we can sit down, and then you call people and they move in their single files, do social distancing, and then we go and vote for who we want. What are they afraid of? They are looking for.
Let's get Honorable Osifo's to get us his final word on this. Honorable Osifo, your party, you heard there the argument from Honorable Ioa that your party is the only one with direct mode of primaries in a period of coronavirus. All right, I understand that we lost him there. But that's how we leave it, everyone. Many thanks for watching. Thank you so much, Honorable Ioa and Honorable Washington Osifo, for talking to us. It's bye for now, everyone.